How did this woman host a poker game with a cheater hiding in plain sight? This is me, Veronica, and I had a problem. I threw the wildest poker game in the casino and got played in my own house. Veronica and Friends, the wildest game in town. My game wasn't just the best game in town, it was the only game that anyone wanted to play in. No tight plays, no sober players, and absolutely no one gave a damn. When I first started commentating at Stones, I noticed something was missing: women. So I went to Art, the general manager of Stones, and said, "Give me one night a month. I'll fill every seat with every poker-playing woman I know." And that's how Veronica and Friends was born. Started as a ladies' game, but when we needed bodies, we let a few guys in. Slowly, the regulars became mostly men, but women always got first priority seating. And that's how I met Alicia, the Queen of Stones. The first time I saw Alicia in the poker room, she was a force. Gorgeous, loud, unapologetic. A laugh that could shake the walls, and every straight man in that room would have set themselves on fire for just 5 minutes of her time. One day I tapped her on the shoulder. "You want to play in my game?" She barely took a glance at me. "Okay." And just like that, she became my most important regular. Never missed a show, and for years, we were just poker friends. Then one day she looked at me and said, "Why don't we hang out outside of this place?" And we did. And now, she's one of my best friends. The game that broke the noise rules. Alicia always sat to my left. Together, we had every VIP's number in the house. Frank was one of the best. We loved the guy. Wild, vibrant, and when he and Alicia got going, the energy was electric. We got noise complaints every single time we played. The floor would scold us, but they never shut us down. Of course, they always put the Omaha 8 table next to the live stream for some reason, and the average age of the Omaha 8 game was about 85 years old, and they hated fun. But tough luck. The sad part about all of this is that Frank was pretty close with Mike, and last I checked, Frank didn't believe that Mike cheated. And honestly, I get it. Some lies are easier to swallow than the truth, especially when the liar's a friend.
Mike and I have the most game time together, and it's just we played for 7, 8 years, and I was looking for him to make that move. I really wanted to see all in. I didn't want to see a $800 bet, a $1,100 bet. I wanted to hear all in. When I heard all in, I just boom.
July 18th, 2018, the first time Mike cheated. The very first time Mike cheated was in my game. For the first 2 hours, his phone was on the table, he was relaxed, casual, and then his demeanor changed. 2 hours in, his phone slid between his legs, and the magic began. You can spot the difference in demeanor if you know where to look. When he's not cheating, he's relaxed, hat back, phone on the table, engaged with the game. But when he's cheating, phone tucked out of sight in between his legs, hat pulled low, shoulders tense. Turns out, even the sneakiest players have tells. Justin, Kelly, and Casey were in the booth. Alicia, always on my left. Frank on my right. Mike, in his rounder's hat, sat next to the dealer. My friend Anthony, aka 4Bet Jesus, was in seat 7. The Aria Poker Room manager, now MGM's head of poker, was in seat 8. Stone's commentator, Master C, was in seat 6. And Bay Area pro Ben Jackson was in seat 2. The footage is still up on Stone's YouTube channel. I even have a bunch of Snapchat videos from that night. Just a typical wild session. No one even noticed the moment that Mike put his phone between his legs and started staring at his crotch. No one even caught how his play changed, suddenly making moves that should have bled money. But yet, he kept winning. He had his phone on the table for the first 2 hours of the game. Why did he suddenly need it between his legs? Chaos was the perfect cover. That night was pure chaos. Yelling, drinking, chips flying. In all of that madness, Mike's crotch glancing blended right in. The only red flag? His sudden streak of insane wins with garbage hands. I had done commentary on Mike many times, and this wasn't his usual game. At first, I thought he was just targeting Frank because they kind of had this weird rivalry. Now, looking back, it's so obvious. And that was Justin and Mike's blind spot. They never realized how obvious this started to look. Mike went from a casual stream player to every game, from normal swings to jackpot wins in small stakes. The math didn't lie. The footage didn't lie. But Mike, he bet everything on us not looking. The tech person that no one speaks of. This whole situation still troubles me. I wrestle constantly with whether to reveal this person's name, whether he was truly aware of the cheating and what was happening. If forced to choose, I'd say he probably at the very least knew, but I couldn't say that with 100% certainty. Lance was a mystery. No news stories, no public mentions, just a name known only to those closest to the operation. He told me he had a computer science or some sort of technical degree, which might have been true, but it never made sense to me. Why work as a dealer when you could be pulling in six figures as a developer in Silicon Valley? But what do I know about what dealers make? Still, Lance knew his stuff. After Bob left, he took over most of the technical work and took a lot of pride in it, often showing me what he was setting up for that night. Early on, there were 2 techs running the show. Later, it grew to 3. Lance was usually the lead, calling the shots for a while. Lance seemed to be very close with Mike and Justin. There's footage of Lance coming over to talk to Mike a few times. Who knows what about? Then one night, in my game, there was a big card reader error.
Why can't we see anybody's cards? What happened?
That's a great question. I don't have the answers to everything in
All
the
right, I
universe.
just wondered if it was a thing.
No, I don't know. We're not doing a Jack Wayne
They
feed
could play
jerky.
one hand dark. I missed the mark. Say that
What?
again.
Oh, all
All
right.
right, so the system is offline when it.
Lance went straight to Mike. Why Mike? Why not bring it up to the whole table? What did Mike need to know about that the rest of us didn't? Why would a tech person even need to speak with a player when there are issues with the card reader? It just makes you wonder. Looking back, Justin systemically pushed out anyone who wasn't fully on his side, Bob being one of them. He brought in Lance because Lance seemed to comply. Bob wasn't the type to just go along with things, and if he'd found out about the cheating, he would have called it out. As for Lance, things eventually blew up. Huge surprise, right? One of the commentators mentioned that Lance had gotten into it with Justin. I actually do not know what happened, and haven't even heard any gossip about the details. But the next time I saw Justin, he told me he got rid of Lance. Lance went off the rails. He's crazy. I had to let him go. And just like that, Lance was gone, back to being a dealer. But there's one more thing. The timing's a bit suspicious. Lance got fired right before the 2019 World Series of Poker. The 2019 World Series of Poker. With Lance gone, they may have needed time to regroup, figure out how to keep the operation running without him. So that summer, Justin decided to take a job as a floorman at the World Series of Poker in Vegas. And suddenly, Mike's cheating stopped. I don't know if Justin took that job to regroup, to find a new way to cheat, maybe scout some fresh recruits, or if Lance's firing was just another weird coincidence. Maybe the only reason the cheating stopped that summer was because Justin was in Vegas. I was in Vegas for a couple of weeks for the series too, like I always was, and that year I got 13th place in the World Series of Poker Ladies Championship event. I made a point to find Justin and say hello, because back then, we were still friends. As for Mike, he stayed back home in Sacramento, and he barely played poker at all, except for in my Veronica and Friends game. And let's be real, nobody missed my game, not even me, because I flew back for it. It was the best game in town. But if you go back and watch Stone's 2019 summer streams, Mike's nowhere to be seen, except for in my game. And when he did play, he was average. he played like any break-even player out there. And then there was his demeanor. Casual, hat backwards, engaged, laughing, hardly like his cheating self. It made me second-guess everything. After that summer, I actually wondered if I'd been wrong about him cheating this entire time. What keeps me up at night are the unanswered questions. Was Lance's departure just a coincidence? Did he get fired because he just didn't get along with Justin, and it happened to be during the exact time that they stopped cheating for the summer? Did he discover the cheating and confront Justin, leading to his firing? Or was he involved but had a falling out over money or methods or something else? The most telling moment came after I had gone public with my allegations. Wired magazine was writing a story, and the reporter wanted to talk to Lance. I reached out to him about it, and for the first time ever, he shut me down completely. This was a guy who was always friendly to me, chatty, now suddenly cold and angry. Soon after, Stones contacted my lawyer with threats of a restraining order if I contacted any of their staff again. Though, to be honest, I don't know if they would have followed through. I've noticed a pattern in all of this. Those who weren't involved tended to be at least somewhat cooperative. Those who lashed out aggressively and refused to speak, that usually meant they had something to hide. Where that leaves Lance in all of this, I still don't know. After the 2019 World Series of Poker, Justin came home to Sacramento, and they were back. Justin happily pinned his microphone back to his blazer lapel, and Mike, he went back to God mode. Then there was Taylor. Taylor started as a Stones dealer, moved to tech, and even did commentary. We weren't close beyond casual chats, but he was around for most of Mike's suspicious plays. Some of us used to speculate about which staff might be enabling him. Taylor was always on that list. Plenty of people see him as suspicious, especially after he corrected hole cards for some of Mike's craziest hands. January 16th, 2019. This game was only broadcast on Twitch. In fact, a lot of the damning games happened in January through March of 2019 when Stones got kicked off of YouTube and only streamed on Twitch. Both channels are still up.
Like thousands of dollars in the pot. And now,
and guys, if T-Bone somehow finds some miracle ship, it's never going to happen. He's just going to fold.
We're going to hear the Casey Zena echoing through the canyon walls.
This would be the shot heard around the world.
It would be the shove of the century.
It couldn't ever happen.
He can't do it.
I can't do it. I can see the cards. I can't do it.
I fold. Yeah, I still fold.
I'm looking at the cards. And I still fold. No, don't. Oh, my God, please. For the love of everything ever, please.
Can he ever?
No way. No, it's not gonna happen. It's not gonna happen.
How in the world? And
I mean, like, I am a T-Bone fangirl for life if this happens.
It's a value shove. He has the best hand.
No way. No. Oh my God. No. What?
Graphics are wrong.
What?
Oh, the graphics are wrong?
Dude, don't ruin
what a
my highlight.
Unbelievable.
Oh, the graphics are wrong.
Does he have 8-9? Taylor, does he have 8-9?
Don't even tell me the graphics are wrong. I'm so much happier if the graphics are right here.
Mike has it.
Mike has
All he said is the graphics are wrong, and he says Mike has it.
Mike has it.
Mike has 6-9? No.
Wait. Help. What do they have?
Tell me they have the same hands, but they're just reversed. It's still cool. Anybody? Bueller? Mike has what?
Mike has 8-9.
Mike has 8-9. Ah, shit.
Mike just has the nuts.
Even when the graphics are wrong, Mike still wins. How?
So T-Bone's hand is correct? He's bluffing here? This is just a fantastic bluff by T-Bone. I hear that Mike has 8-9, but I love this bluff. Why can't Mike have 8-6?
Why? Can we just give T-Bone the money? I want T-Bone to get
Mike
the money.
is like, what do I do with the nuts?
Mike Postle's the Chuck Norris of poker. Amen, brother. I'm not even a religious man, but we're going to just drop a solid amen to that.
I am a religious man, and amen.
God. Isn't there like a better Jewish term for that, though?
What than amen?
I don't know.
L'chaim.
L'chaim. I thought that was like cheers, salute.
This is so sad. Oh, there the wah, 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 wah. Wow.
8-9 of spades? No wonder he's going
Oh my
nowhere.
God. Oh my
Of course,
God.
only Mike flops 8-9 of spades. Good God, man. Postle bluffed the graphics.
Yeah, he sure did. Even the graphics can't read him.
The commentators were shocked. Why? Because nobody plays like this. Nobody. Unless they can see their opponent's cards. And here's the kicker. This wasn't a one-time thing. Mike's hands got updated a few times. When his moves looked too wild, too reckless, his cards magically upgraded. Convenient? A little too convenient, if you ask me. Here's something technical I noticed. Most streams required constant RFID table calibration to read the cards properly. Early on, if a card was misreading, it would affect every single hand until we recalibrated the entire table. We'd sometimes stop games entirely to fix it. So for graphic errors to hit just one hand, strange. For it to only happen to Mike, that's beyond suspicious. And for it to only happen when Mike was playing in a way that only someone would play if they knew the whole cards, that's a cover-up. Taylor's another tough one to figure out. Actually, everyone from the tech team during that era is for me. Could Justin and Mike have pulled it off without tech even noticing? Did Taylor just mindlessly update hands whenever Justin told him to? Here's what I think. Justin clearly wasn't a poker expert. Would he even recognize when Mike's plays were so blatant they needed covering up? I doubt Justin had that level of sophistication in his poker strategy. Remember, this is the same guy that tried to convince me that Mike Postle was using the martingale strategy in his poker game. Maybe it was Taylor who realized that Mike's cheating was too obvious and adjusted the cards himself. Remember, graphics updates are in real time and baked directly into the stream. Whoever changed the cards had to act immediately. That leaves two possibilities. One, Justin Caritis was monitoring the stream live, instructing Taylor to alter cards, which would require actual poker knowledge. Or two, Taylor made the changes independently when the hands looked too suspicious, with Justin just jumping into the chat to do damage control. Either way, something doesn't add up. Well, ladies and gentlemen, it looks like we're on the bubble, the cheating bubble, and it's close to popping. Next time, we're rewinding to the bitter end, Justin's desperate Hail Mary to keep this whole house of cards from crumbling. You won't want to miss it.